Dun, 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 dun. We're now reading chapter 6. He departed from here and came to his native place, accompanied by his disciples. From when the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him was astonished. They said, "Where did this man get all this? And what kind of wisdom has been given to him? What mighty deeds are wrought by his hands? Is he not the carpenter, son of Mary, and brother of James, Joseph, and Judas, and Simon? And are not all his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to him, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his native place, and amongst his own kind, and in his own house." So that he was not able to perform any mighty deed there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. He went around the villages in the vicinity teaching. He summoned the 12 and began to send them 2 by 2, and gave them authority over unclean spirits. He instructed them to take nothing for the journey but a walking stick, no food, no sack, no money in their belts. And they were, however, to wear sandals, but not a second tunic. He said to them, "Whenever you enter a house, stay there until you leave from there. And whatever place does not welcome you or listen to you, leave there and shake the dust off your feet in testimony against them." And so they went off and preached repentance. They drove out many demons and they anointed with oil many who were sick and cured them. King Herod heard about it, and for his fame had become widespread, and people who were saying John the Baptist has been raised from the dead. That's why the mighty powers are at work with him. Others were saying he is Elijah. Still others, he is a prophet like any other prophet. Still others, he is a prophet like any other prophet. But when Herod learned of this, he said, It is John who I beheaded. It is John whom I beheaded. He has been raised up." But when Herod was the one who had John arrested and bound in prison on account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip, whom he had married. John had said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." John said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." So Herodias harbored a grudge against him and wanted to kill him, but was unable to do so. Herod feared John, knowing him to be a righteous and holy man, and kept him in custody. And when he heard him speak, he was very much perplexed, yet he liked to listen to him. He had the opportunity one day when Herod was on his birthday, gave a banquet for his couriers, his military officers, and leading men of Galilee. Herod's own daughter came in and performed a dance to delight Herod and his guests. The king said to the girl, "Ask me whatever you wish, and I'll grant it to you." He even saw many things to her. "I'll grant you whatever you ask me, even to have my kingdom." She went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" She replied, "The head of John the Baptist." The girl hurried back to the king's presence and made her request. "I want you to give me at once on a platter the head of John the Baptist." The king was deeply distressed because of his oaths, and the guest he did not wish to break his word to her. So he promptly dispatched an executioner with orders to bring back his head. He went off and beheaded him in prison. He brought in the head on the platter and gave it to the girl. The girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard about it, they came to took his body and laid it in a tomb. The apostles gathered together with Jesus and reported all they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest for a while." People were coming and going in great numbers, and they had no opportunity even to eat. So they went off in a boat by themselves to a deserted place. People saw them leaving, and many came to know about it. They hastened there on foot from all the towns and arrived at the place before them. And when he disembarked, he saw the vast crowd. His heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. By now it was really late, and his disciples approached him and said, "This is a deserted place, and it was already very late. By now it was already late, and the disciples approached him and said, "This is a deserted place, and it was already very late. Dismiss them so that they can go to the surrounding farms and villages and buy themselves something to eat." Then he said to them in reply, "Give them some food yourselves." But they said to him, he said to them in reply, "Give them some food yourselves." But they said to him, "Are we to buy 200 days' worth of food and give them to eat?" And he said to them in reply, "Give them some food of yourselves." But he said unto them, "Are we to buy 200 days' buy 200 days' wages worth of food and give it to them to eat?" He said to them, How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they had found out, they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. So he gave orders to have them sit down in groups on green grass. The people took their places in rows by hundreds and by fifties. Then, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to the heaven, and he said the blessings, broke the loaves, and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He had also divided the fish among them all. Then, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he began looking up to heaven. He said the blessing and broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up 12 wicker baskets full of fragments, and what was left of the fish. Those who ate of the loaves were 5,000 men. Then he made his disciples get into the boat and precede him to the other side toward Bethsaida, where he dismissed the crowd. Okay. And when he had taken leave of them, he went to the mountain to pray. When it was evening, the boat was far out on the sea, and he was alone on the shore. Then he saw that they tossed about while rowing, for the wind was against them. About the 4th watch of the night, he came toward them walking out to the sea. He meant to pass them. But when he saw him walking on the sea, they thought he was a ghost and cried out. Yes, they had all seen him and were terrified. But at once he spoke with them. "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." He got into the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely astounded. They had not understood the incident of the loaves. On the contrary, their hearts were hardened. After making the crossing, they came to the land of Gennesaret and tied up there. They were leaving the boat. People immediately recognized them. They scurried about the surrounding country and began to break in the sick on the mats to wherever he was. They scurried about the surrounding country and began to bring in the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. Whatever villages or towns or countryside he entered, they laid the sick in the marketplaces. They begged him that they may only touch the tassel of his cloak. As many were touched were healed, and as many touched it were healed. Okay, we're now on chapter 7. Thank you for watching our show. I hope this was a lovely evening. And we're talking more about the miracles of Jesus and all his works. Okay, so we're going to